W2 G here. So today I want to talk about a topic that it's been frustrating to me endlessly as a player who has played this game for a very long time. And it's one thing when you hear it from the players because, I don't really care about a lot of times with some random player may say because, sometimes players are ignorant. But when you hear it from an actual business and it's like, man, you're supposed to be, I'm trying to deal with you in a professional manner. And it's like, I'm hearing this same garbage rhetoric from a business that's supposed to be actually legit. Like it's kind of shocking and more or less it's like disappointing. But that is the whole topic of Yu-Gi-Oh is dying, R.I.P. This time next year there will be no Yu-Gi-Oh, yada yada yada, all this other garbage rhetoric. So all right, I'll put this into context for you guys. What you guys are looking at is an email. I'm gonna have it like really blurry using one of the really terrible effects from Microsoft Movie Maker. But you know what, I'm not a film student, guys, so just kind of like deal with me. And anyways, to make a long story short, I was reaching out to some websites to see if they would consider sponsoring my Twitch stream and my my YouTube channel. And I'm like, I emailed a lot of them professionally. I'm like, hi, my name is Randall Jordan. I have a YouTube and a Twitch. I've got, almost 43,000 subscribers on YouTube, almost 5,000 Twitch followers. There's a lot of views there. If you could provide me with some product and potentially some coupon codes for my subscribers to use, I'm sure that it would generate revenue for your site. It could give them discounts, and then you could give me, part of the amount of, or part of the profits. So it's like a win-win-win. And I was trying to see if I could get some companies to provide me with products to be honest, I really wasn't even that interested in opening the products. I would just give them away like in videos and Twitch streams, because like opening products to me is just, it's still not interesting. After 6 years of doing YouTube, it's just really not that interesting. But so the guy, and I'm not going to say the website, there were about 6 websites that I emailed back. A couple of them said, we're very interested because you've got really good numbers. This one said that, they were immediately interested, but then I started reading the second email and it was a little alarming. Some of the things in here says it's talking about how they would want me to push other card games in my videos, and I'm just like, okay. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, I'm really not interested in that. I've built this channel around Yu-Gi-Oh, but it says we are actually having some success with alternating in other products since players want to see what is new out there. The predominant amount is Yu-Gi-Oh, but as you know, Yu-Gi-Oh is dying. And it does not command the presence that it once had in most stores have Yu-Gi-Oh as a small percentage of their overall business, including us. And there's another line here that I was just like, where are you getting this from? And it was because I emailed this person. I said, well, I'd like multiple boxes of whatever new product that you guys have in, one to give away, one to open, which probably I just end up giving that one away too. It says a couple of years ago, you probably could have gotten many boxes for your channel, but the Yu-Gi-Oh universe has shrunk about 80%. So as you can imagine, it's a dealer's market now for sponsorship. So I understand what he's saying about Yu-Gi-Oh maybe not having its most lucrative, like it not being the most lucrative time in Yu-Gi-Oh. But I think that this mindset that just because it's not, Yu-Gi-Oh isn't necessarily as popular as it was 2 years ago, doesn't mean that it's dying. First off, this 80% that the Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess, market has died 80%, like where is that coming from? And granted, I don't actually have hard numbers. Maybe this website is struggling, but when I look at other websites like TCG Player, they don't seem like that website doesn't seem to be struggling at all. I mean, you see Yu-Gi-Oh on the front page, the Yu-Gi-Oh section is still booming. Other websites like ARG, they're still opening up stores, they're still buying cards at a rapid pace. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe it's just this website. And I just tried to look in the numbers because you can really never find hard evidence as far as how the game is actually selling, because Konami doesn't make those numbers public. But when you look at the events, and that's what I thought, okay, well, let's just look at events. Let's look at, let's look at the amount of players. Okay, well, the 150th YCS that happened in Columbus, Ohio. I mean, this wasn't even that long ago. It says 1,763 duelists. That's basically, let's round up, that's 1,800 players to a YCS. Like, those are still really good numbers. YCS San Jose, which was in California, that just happened over the weekend. That event had over 1,000 players. You look at our nationals that happened this year, that was over 2,000 players, and that's a freaking invite-only event. You can't just show up and be like, yo, I'm at nationals, I'm playing Ritual Beast, here's my $20, let me enter. You know what I mean? You have to actually be invited to nationals. And To put that into context, I'm not trying to bash other card games. That's not what I'm doing in this video. But I told you guys, I actually watched the Pokemon finals. It was about a week before the Yu-Gi-Oh finals. It was either a week or a couple of weeks. Their nationals, and Pokemon is a wildly successful card game and has been for, 20 plus years. Pokemon came out when I was like 11, or yeah, right about that age. I was about 10 or 11. But anyways, the Pokemon TCG, what's it called? The Pokemon US Championship was it was about 1,000 players. So it was less than half of what Yu-Gi-Oh had. And that's a very successful card game. You look at other card games that are very prominent, like Magic the Gathering. That game doesn't have nearly the influence worldwide that Yu-Gi-Oh does. So I don't understand where this mindset to this day that Yu-Gi-Oh is dying, it's in trouble, there won't be a Yu-Gi-Oh in 6 months, is still coming from. This is the only game, when you compare it to a lot of these other card games not named Pokemon, that actually has a manga and an anime attached to it. You go to the Shonen Jump website, you can buy Yu-Gi-Oh manga. There's Yu-Gi-Oh all over the place. You look at their playmats where they're gonna put their most recognizable characters. You don't see characters from Cardfight Vanguard. You don't see characters from Force of Will on these playmats with legendary anime characters like Naruto and Luffy and Ichigo. You know what I mean? You see Yu-Gi-Oh characters. It shows you that this game is still a booming business for Konami. In fact, I would say, considering Konami's recent financial struggles, that Yu-Gi-Oh is probably one of the most profitable things that they even own. So I just don't understand where people get off saying that Yu-Gi-Oh is dying. I mean, it's one thing for the players to say it, but for an actual supposed reputable business, that is alarming. I mean, maybe their sales aren't doing that well, but when I see that these events are still getting 1,800 players, 2,000 players, yes, it isn't as big as YCS San Mateo, the one that we had 4,000 players and they had to end up they had to go buy additional rooms and stuff because there weren't enough seats for the players. We aren't getting events that big anymore. I think that may have been 2-3 years ago, but just because Yu-Gi-Oh isn't as popular as it is 2-3 years ago doesn't mean that it's dying. I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. This can contextualize it perfectly. Magic the Gathering has been around forever. I remember being in the 6th grade and thinking, my brother told me, we were stupid kids. My brother used to tell me, Magic cards are evil, right? He was like, that's witchcraft. I'm like, what, really? Magic the Gathering? I didn't even know what it was, but he told me that it was evil and he didn't even know what it was. Magic the Gathering has been around for 20 something years. Do you really think at this point right now that Magic the Gathering is as popular as it was maybe 15 years ago, where there wasn't this many, where it wasn't that many competitors like Force of Will and Yu-Gi-Oh? These games weren't nearly as big. Even still, you can take Magic's 20-year life or 20+ year life. I'm sure every single year there were years of some drop-offs, but did the card game die? Did the card game vanish? Or is it on Twitch, on Saturdays getting 20,000 viewers? You know what I mean? So these are the things you have to take into consideration. Just because in 2015 Yu-Gi-Oh isn't as popular as it was in 2013 doesn't mean the game's dying. It doesn't even mean the game's in a recession. It means that maybe the game isn't as popular as it was. Maybe there isn't high levels of growth, but who's not to say that, next year there won't be a boom in Yu-Gi-Oh? Yu-Gi-Oh is in its freaking 5th iteration of an anime. How many animes even do that? I mean, this anime has been running since 2002? I mean, it's 2016. I remember in 2002 watching the Yu-Gi-Oh anime show. This show has been going on for almost 15 years. So it really frustrates me when people give me the same old BS. Oh, Cap, well, my locals isn't as big as it used to be. Okay, well, your locals isn't a representation of the entire world. When it comes down to it, as far as popularity, Yu-Gi-Oh is still the #1 trading card game on planet Earth. So I really just don't get this Yu-Gi-Oh is dying mentality, guys. So let me know what you guys think, and let me know if this frustrates you. Because as a person who has, obviously a lot invested in Yu-Gi-Oh, not just because I played it for a long time and I'm not interested in learning any other card games, this is something that really, really grinds my gears. So anyways, let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching as always.